The theme of the conference is around physical infrastructural changes and digital network changes in the African supply chain context. And so what we're really trying to understand is how have these big sweeping changes in physical infrastructure and these very fast technological changes in the digital world, how have they impacted how supply chains function in this region? And what have these changes meant in the last sort of 5-10 years, and what will they mean for the next decade for the operators of these supply chains? We co-facilitate this with the World Food Programme, with the IFRC, with the University of Nairobi, with the Interagency Working Group of East and Central Africa, and with the Humanitarian Logistics Association. It's a conference that's designed to bring together members of the humanitarian supply chain community and the stakeholders from the wider supply chain community in this region to discuss how we can resolve any issues and how we can move forward together as a community.
We do need more events like this to better understand and better learn from one another, to foster those solutions so that nobody is left behind. Clearly, in places where the infrastructure is lacking, and it costs us a great deal of money to actually get humanitarian assistance or development assistance to different communities, what we can do is act as a catalyst to improve the infrastructure. Kenya is an incredibly important potential trade partner for South Sudan in the future and now to support their growing economy. But they're also a very important humanitarian corridor for us to take in assistance to South Sudan.
Africa's future growth and development will depend on the quality of its infrastructure and the efficiency of its transport network. Quality is important. We are talking about investment, we are talking about the infrastructure that is being deployed. We've never talked about the maintenance of that infrastructure, which at some time, 3 years down the line, it starts to crumble because we don't have the expertise and the capabilities to maintain that infrastructure.
I love the emphasis on hard infrastructure. But from where we sit, there's also a need for us to look at the soft issues. Unless we have competent human resource, no matter what kind of infrastructure we put in place, our performance will not fly. We must improve on our customs processes. We also must improve on the timeliness in which we are making our declarations. So we face a number of challenges that requires concerted efforts for us to benefit from logistics, especially when we develop the infrastructures.
Much of Africa now is covered with fiber, even more than we need. We need to leverage this infrastructure. We have no excuse at all to build capacity because the amount of benefit that we would gather from this is enormous.
Most of the nonprofits that work in African nations are ahead of digital transformation. This is very encouraging for the continent and the nations here. But digital transformation is a very profound thing in an organization. This is not slapping in a system and then telling people, hey, click here and do it. It's a business transformation change that is facilitated by technology and that explains how difficult and how profound it is in the organization.
Most of the students who come to the universities don't seem to be prepared to be in the university.
What are you doing to influence increase in knowledge in supply chain in the universities?
I think the biggest problem we face as far as students' readiness is concerned, in my opinion, is that universities and lower levels of education, primary schools and high schools, don't talk to each other.
We need to have academics who are prepared to teach, who have the content and the pedagogical know-how, but also that we design courses that are comparable internationally. We need collaborative research. So the university, the students, the professionals, the industry, we need all to come together and devise research that can have impact on logistics and supply chain.
I still was very curious to find that certification that would elevate me to a different level. I wanted my brand to be known differently as a woman.
I had transporters coming in and giving me rates. I wasn't very happy with those rates. They said, women don't come here. Why are you here? How many more women can actually get into that space and get a chance?
So how do we create a more gender-sensitive supply chain to women-owned businesses?
In Kenya, I think we have made very good progress. So first of all, we have universities that are providing supply chain at the university level. So you can get a degree in supply chain management, and it's encouraging women to actually join those courses, make that choice at the very beginning when you're thinking about a profession. So it's being professionalized. And also, we even have donors who are willing to fund certain programs that actually ensure that women are more, provided opportunities equally as men.
Digital solutions can be very effective, but they're not always the best use of resources, and many of them fail.
We need visions for the supply chain. Each supply chain will do really well if there is a vision for what it's trying to achieve, what the purpose is, and who the beneficiaries are. We just need to be careful not to be seduced by the new and the shiny, and to really use an inclusive process. I think what I've really enjoyed the most is the unusual design of the panel. It's been really dynamic with short answers, a lot of very different kinds of discussions and answers. And so I think it's made it be very rich, but also very engaging.
It is time today, as we all use the same internet and we all use the same platform, to revisit it. The technologies in use today are aging, and so it's a perfect timing to say, could we use the same platform? Could we use the same data sets and bring that together? The Frontline Humanitarian Logistics Workshop is aimed simply to surface what difference could we make by making and creating innovation in this space that would later on make the delivery of goods from the national warehouse to the beneficiaries in a more effective manner with less waste.
As we go away with our takeaway from this and our tasks, ask you to take up the challenge, and as Matthew Hollingworth said, be bold and grow old in this industry and look back on your career in logistics and be proud of your contribution to a better world. Thank you very much for your attendance, and hope to see you again in the future. Thank you. After delivering the conference for the 7th time here in Nairobi, Kenya, we are looking to bring this conference to West Africa and to provide a platform for universities, for humanitarian organizations and industry to come together and discuss and solve some of the problems in the region.
What I liked about the conference is the great minds that have been put together. Lots of information, lots of different opinions. There's still more questions to be answered. We all need to go back and answer in our own way, individually and as organizations.
I like the conference very much because it opened my eyes to Africa. And this is all a new experience for me. I believe that between Asia and Africa, we can learn from each other.
By the time we'll be doing ALC 8, let us as public and private entities use the technology that we have been told about or the opportunities to actually grow ourselves such that by the next conference, we'll be talking about success stories.